Jesus said to them, I am ego eimi, the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Then the Jews complained about him because he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. They're saying, is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How can he now say, I come down from heaven? And Jesus said to them, do not complain among yourselves. No one can come to me unless drawn by the Father who sent me. And I will raise that person up on the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall all be taught by God. And those who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. Not that everyone has seen the Father except the one who is from God. He has seen the Father. And very truly I tell you, whoever believes has eternal life. I am, ego eimi, the bread of life. Your ancestor ate the manna in the wilderness and they died. But this is the bread of life that comes down from heaven, so that you may eat of it and not die. I am the ego eimi, the living bread, and whoever eats of this bread will live forever. And the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh. Now this is the gospel of our Lord.
Praise be to God.
This is it. May we pray. Lord, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our redeemer. Amen. Grace and peace to you, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are searching for something that will satisfy our hearts. It is still echoing in my ears, the song that the house band sang repeatedly throughout our youth gatherings. Some of those that who attended the gathering still remember that perhaps. A song called I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. And some of the lyrics sound something like this. I have climbed highest mountain. I have run through the fields only to be with you. I have run, I have crawled, I have scaled the city walls only to be with you, but still haven't found what I'm looking for. There are more verses to that song that very much depicts a journey to find something in the world that will satisfy one's desire, but to find it to no avail. And I'm sure we all are searching for something, searching for the meaning of life, searching for a fulfillment and satisfaction in life. It feels like there is a hole within our hearts that are aching to be fulfilled, or a sense of hungriness and thirstiness that long to be satisfied. We try to fill the hole with every possible thing under the sun, everything that the world can offer us. We are being bombarded with commercials to offer us with things that will satisfy us, things that will make us whole. They even offer a satisfaction guarantee or your money back. When we went to Israel, Mary still remember, and I bought this facial formula lotion that made out of minerals or mud from the Dead Sea. That promised that if you apply it to your skin, and you will look like 25 years younger. Well, I wish to return it and get my money back. Let's do flowers today. Some people try to fill that hole with fame and power, thinking that those things will give them satisfaction in life. We learn that many people who attain them find themselves to be desperate, lonely, despondent, sometimes end up with tragic lives. We accumulate our wealth and our material possessions thinking they will be happy and satisfied, and we all know the truth. They only can satisfy us momentarily, and the more we have, the more we want or more, that often lead us into all kinds of greed. During one of our worships, when Pastor Boyce, Morgan, and I attended in Dayton, Ohio, 2 weeks ago, I was asked to help with the service by joining the choir, believe it or not, to sing a song that was part of the prayer that I translated it into Indonesian language. And the refrain of that song very much explains our theme for today, saying, there is a longing in our hearts, O Lord, for you to reveal yourself to us. There is a longing in our hearts for love we can only find in you, our God. There is a longing in our hearts, O Lord, for you to reveal yourself to us. There is a longing in our hearts for love we only find in you, our God. Blaise Pascal said it this way: there are 3 kinds of people in this world. Those who have sought God and found Him, and these are the ones who are reasonably and happy. And those who seek God and have not found Him, these are the ones who are reasonably and unhappy. But those who are neither seek God nor find Him, these are the people who are unreasonable and unhappy. Here, Jesus offers the very thing that we are looking for, thing that we are longing for to satisfy our heart's desire. Himself, the true manna, the bread of life, the living bread that comes down from heaven, that will satisfy our hearts and spirits. Unlike the manna that the Israelites received in the wilderness, that only satisfied them momentarily, and they die. Jesus said, I'm the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. I am the living bread. Whoever eats of this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh. Indeed, we receiving that bread of life as we partake in the Holy Communion through the bread and wine. to nourish us and lead us into eternal life. Brothers and sisters in Christ, Jesus' usage of the word, I am the bread of life, I am the living bread. It's the same words that God gave to Moses during the burning bush when Moses asked God, who you be? What is your name? So that when people ask me and I know how to answer, and God say, I am who I am. Ehyeh asher, ehyeh. Ego emi. I am who I am. That Jesus is the ground of being, or the cause, the Alpha and the Omega. And Jesus is the I am who provided the manna to the people of Israel in the wilderness. And he is the Alpha and Omega, the I am who provided the sustenance to Elijah during his journey. And the I am who fed the 5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. However, Jesus' statement of I am and his claim to be the one, the living bread who comes down from heaven, offended the Jews and complained about him, even ridiculed him, saying, is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, the father and mother we all know, perhaps from Nazareth? The carpenter, is that a good thing comes out of Nazareth? How can we say I have come down from heaven? They failed to see Jesus beyond his earthly identity and social status, and chose to complain just like your ancestors complained to Moses and God in the wilderness, instead of being open to God's revelations and grace and to put your trust in him. Likewise, how often we define a person through his or her outer appearance, through family, nationality, or culture of origin, that he or she has nothing to do with it. A person has no choice to what parents he or she to be born, or to what culture or nationality to be born. But that person can choose his or her destiny. And most of all, that person is defined by his or her Creator, God. That's what defines people. In that case, I would say, I am who I am. I am Bimen Limbong, a child of God, redeemed by God in the water of baptism. And all my attributes or emblems prior to that are considered insignificant. And so are you. You are who you are, claimed and saved by God through grace. Apostle Paul put it this way: Beloved, I do not consider that I have made it my own, but this one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead. And I press on toward the goal for the prize of the heavenly call of God in Christ Jesus. The Apostle Paul considered all the qualities in his past as rubbish, scuba in Greek, which its literal translation I hesitate to say from the author. And this is also what the Apostle Paul admonished the church in Ephesus in our second reading today. As Christianity spread to the Hellenistic world, to the Gentile world, more and more Gentiles or non-Jews become Christians. And they're tempted to bring their old backpacks, their old habits and practices, their former way of living into the life of the church. The Apostle Paul sternly reminded them to leave those things behind and to strive to maintain the unity of the Spirit, the unity of the church, the unity of the Spirit take precedence of all the former things in life. And here the Apostle Paul gave them simple and practical suggestions for their moral actions and speech. Almost like the children versions of what you need to know, you know them in the kindergartens. The way they should treat each other as brothers and sisters in Christ, as community of faith. For the sake of building up the community of faith. The practices that we as a church need to keep in mind. And especially during our transition in our church. Now what I would like to invite you, if you would, to get your bulletin. And go to our second reading today. So I asked Shannon to skip the reading today so that all can read it. And I would like to invite you to read this reading from Ephesians alternately. So one half of you at the pulpit side will read the odd verses, and Apostle Paul's side will read the even verses. And we can start now. 1, 2, 3, go.
Then putting away falsehood, let us all speak the truth with our neighbors, for we are members of one another. Therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children.
Thanks be to